life in China.
Oh, life in China. I expected life in China. Oh, whoa. 你好, I'm Mao Mao, or Froskurinn, the English caster of the LPL broadcast. To my understanding, Mao Mao is a nickname reserved for a small, cutesy type of girl, and because I am very tall and have a lot of tattoos and am kind of scary looking. Plus, I have a cat tattoo on my neck. I think my journey with the LPL really started at IPL 5. My favorite team at the time was Moscow 5, and Kelsey effectively indoctrinated me into the LPL by saying, you know, if you like this very quick, aggressive play style, I have a region for you. And from there, it was kind of a match made in heaven. I saw the LPL, I started to experience more of the teams, the Star Wars League, and I just fell in love. Watching RNG in Rift Rivals when they were like this on the cusp of beating Korea, I was sitting and I had my RNG jacket on. We had like our RNG flag, and we were watching the game upstairs, getting ready for the analyst desk, and it was kind of like this, oh God, you know, they've done it, like yes, yes, and then, oh no, what are you doing, what is it? Like everyone's jumping up and down and screaming. But watching those games backstage, we're going just as nuts as the crowd is. When I see, you know, CA get a solo kill on Faker playing Lucian, you better believe I'm the loudest person in that room, like jumping up and down, like let's go, you got it. And so when RNG are stumbling or they're on the cusp of beating SKT in a best of 5 and Uzi locks in Vayne, I'm losing my shit. So yes, I am an analyst and a personality, but I'm also a massive fan of these teams. So when I began casting the LPL back in 2014, I always knew that ending up in China was going to be the end goal. I expected life in China to be really busy. The hustle and bustle of the city, you know, you go from Sydney, Australia of 25 million people in the entire country, and there are more people in one city of Shanghai than all of Sydney, Australia. So it was kind of a very, I expected Shanghai to be, you know, crazy and loud and in your face and full, but in fact.
So this is what we tried to feed into our dishwasher. This is for clothing, and the whole thing flooded our kitchen and filled it with bubbles.
Just hold on, right in there. There it is. That's it.
When I first ate here, it was really delicious and we fell in love with it instantly. And so we used to come and eat here maybe like twice a week. We ate here a ton, but I noticed that every time I kept eating here that I would get really sick. And so I started coming less and less, and I read up on MSG poisoning. So I unfortunately had to eat it less, even though I really love this food. So right now we're on the subway, and normally when we're on the subway, it's packed in here. Anytime we're trying to go from the office to the venue, it's like jumping into sardines and everyone's just smashed around. So this is probably the best subway experience I've ever had because it's so clear and I get to sit down. I think this is my first time sitting down on a subway. In all honesty, moving to China was a struggle simply because Australia I consider my home. It was my favorite place that I'd ever been. I fell in love with it as soon as I got there. I had to pick between the place that I loved, my home, and my passion, my dream, the LPL. Although I wasn't entirely used to Shanghai when I moved here, it's been a quick transition. I'm starting to get much more in tune with it, and a lot of that is through how much I love LPL and how accessible LPL is now that I'm in Shanghai. So there are several different challenges throughout my career and different milestones. Esports is the wild, wild west industry. You know, it was very young, it's still very much in its infancy, and so there's not a lot of roadmaps, especially back when I first started getting involved about how to go and get where you want to go. So the initial struggle was just the hustle of it. You know, this is an industry that's built on your free time and your passion, and for a very long time, there's probably going to be a couple of questions about how you're going to eat or where you're going to find your next meal. I was very fortunate in that I had a very strong group of friends, and we were all hyper interested in the same thing, and we were all trying to go for esports at the same time. So we had a good support network about talking and helping figure out how we're going to market ourselves and move to that next milestone. It started out as part of the reason why the Western audience didn't take to me very well is because of how abrasive or brash I was when I first came into the scene. Because, season 3, everyone is talking about, NA this and EU that, and I guess we have to pay respects to Korea because they win everything. But everyone had ignored China, and that effectively created kind of like a chip on my shoulder because I was investing so much into this region, and I was looking around, I was like, why is no one talking about how amazing this region is? Why does no one recognize how powerful this region is? And so when I came out and got the microphone, unfortunately the first thing out of my mouth is, you guys are worried about Korea? You need to be worried about China. You're not even gonna beat China. Like, you don't even have a shot at Korea right now. And Western fans did not want to hear that they weren't even gonna stand on the podium. So definitely understand lashback there, had to change it, but it's now kind of changed where the respect of Korea is now usually exuded to China as well. People recognize the strong players, the superstars of the teams like Uzi, like Xiao, who now are making his name on the international stage. Even MLXG is pretty well recognized. So, yeah, happy. Today's a good mama hoo. That's what it is. Mama hoo hoo. It's a fun word. It's like ho 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 hoo hoo. Mama hoo hoo. Ah.
That's why.
So it went from this very reserved, very well presenting, very polite. Oh, so polite. Indiana is so polite. To me watching a link on YouTube of this incredible person talking so loudly, so passionately about fictional video game characters killing each other and wrecking each other's home base. It was like someone had flipped a coin and shown me both sides.
It's always hard. This is always like a tough question when someone's like, describe yourself. I'm like, I don't know, I'm boring. I'm goofy, kind of weird, hermit. I care about League of Legends, I care about the LPL, and I go home and I either watch more League of Legends or more LPL, or I like read a book or play a solo player video game. I'm very loud on camera, and I am very quiet behind camera.
That's right. I hope you had the time of your
life. So we just hung up our wishes, and I wish for a successful and prosperous year in the LPL. P.S. Good luck at Worlds 2018. Okay, doesn't that look like iBoy? Doesn't he look like a goldfish?
iBoy?